students who are members of our community already for your participation and attendance. And especially to those of you, we have many guests from the outside who have come to the campus, I think probably in a lot of cases for the very first time. I won't acknowledge all those guests, but I do want to say a word of context for our external visitors that I think is important. George Mason University Korea is an international branch campus, of George Mason University in Virginia, a prominent and distinguished public research university in the United States. What does that mean to be an international branch campus? Our primary mission, those of you who are familiar with the community already know exactly what the primary mission is, but for those of you who are outside visitors, it's important to remind you that our primary mission is to deliver a high-quality education here in Korea, fully in English, and worthy of the standards that are set by our parent institution in Virginia. Our curricula are the same as they are in Fairfax. Our faculty are selected and reviewed in collaboration with their counterparts. Our students spend a year in Fairfax as part of their education, and they receive the same diploma, the same transcript, as they would if they attended the university in Virginia. That makes this model of higher education rare in global historical terms, and I think exciting and innovative. And I think that you will begin to appreciate that as we move towards the substance of our discussion and the presentations today. Because the power of international branch campuses doesn't just end at the classroom door. In fact, in some ways, that's the beginning. All universities have a sense of obligation and commitment and service, not just to the students that they teach, but to the community that surrounds the institution and supports it. I think today's event is a demonstration of the bridge that George Mason University Korea can provide between the knowledge and research expertise that's resident in Virginia, at the home institution at George Mason University, between our own faculty's resident expertise and with the knowledge and expertise of that we know is here in Korea. Anyone who's familiar with the global development of education and universities, and particularly of scientific and scholarly communities, appreciates that a branch campus is a kind of culmination of a trend towards globalization that has been affecting the institution of universities around the world for the past 300 years. With those very lofty ideas and context in mind, we're especially honored today to host Dean Mark Rozell and the delegation of faculty who are visiting from George Mason University's Schar School of Policy and Government. You'll learn more about each of our visitors in a moment, but I think it's important to underscore that the Schar School is among the flagship schools that comprise George Mason University in Virginia. Its programs and its faculty have been recognized nationally and globally for their rigor and for their innovative thinking and their productivity and their relevance to the formation of policy in the United States, being situated as it is so closely to Washington, D.C. The latest evidence of this comes in the form of the U.S. News and World Report's recent ranking. Am I taking your thunder, Mark? Ranking of the Schar School's graduate program concentrations in Homeland and National Security and Emergency Management as third in the country, or in the country. I guess U.S. News and World Report only. It's a national ranking system. So that gives you a sign about the distinction and quality of the kind of scholarship that goes on in the Schar School, and it also means today that you're in store for a very stimulating and relevant set of presentations and discussions. Before I turn it over to Dean Rozell for his welcoming comments, I also want to thank, well, I want to thank all of the guests for traveling as far as you did to come and be a part of not just today's ceremony, but presentation and symposium, but an entire week's worth of activities that have been set up for them. There were on our side many people who were worked behind the scenes to make this visit possible. Dan Walsh and Min Park, Roland Wilson with the Conflict Analysis and Resolution Program, Jenny Choi, Crystal So, Kira Lee, Dea Byu, Hyungjung Kim, Mindy Park, and Yuna Kim. All of them worked as a hard team to, a good strong team to pull everything together. We're very grateful for the work that you did to make this today happen. And of course I want to extend my special gratitude to the person just in front of me here, which is Professor So-Young Kwon, who has been working very hard over the past few months to pull together today's event and as I say, the schedule of events around the city. She is a professor of government in the Global Affairs program here. She helped craft the agenda, and she has relied on her deep context in the foreign policy, national security communities here in Korea to make sure we had the right people in the audience and to make sure that there was a rich set of opportunities in the city for our guests to both share their expertise and learn about the ongoing policy discussions within the city. So I thank you very much for that, Professor Kwon. With that, I think I will turn things over to Dean Mark Rozell, Dean of the Schar School of Policy and Government at George Mason. Dean Rozell is an accomplished and prolific scholar in his own right, a scholar of U.S. government and politics. I'm pleased to welcome him back to Korea and to extend my personal thanks for your vision in seeing the opportunities that a branch campus like this, an international branch campus, can present for extending George Mason's reach and broadening the audience for the excellent talent that you brought to us. So thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. Dean Rozell.
Thank you, John. Thank you for that kind welcome. And I was thinking, if you steal my thunder a little bit, it's a good thing, because everybody knows I'm paid as Dean of the Schar School to talk about how wonderful it is, but it's much more credible coming from you. So I thank you for that. This is a real treat to be able to be here at this particular time to talk about issues of international security, denuclearization, and in part it's a coincidence of timing, I suppose. We've been planning this trip for quite some time. But I can tell you that this is one of a number of panels, events, and meetings over the course of a week that I and my Schar School faculty colleagues are having both here in Songdo and also beginning tomorrow in Seoul. So we're delighted to have this opportunity to showcase what we in the Schar School do, particularly in the fields of international security and also biodefense studies. So this will be quite a treat for you. For very accomplished scholars from the United States giving their perspective on events happening here right now and around the world. And you have two academic degree program directors among the four directors of our programs in international security, which is our fastest growing program, as well as having that wonderful ranking, and also in biodefense. So again, thank you for your participation. I look forward to, for once in a while in my career, being in the audience and getting to observe and to learn. I'm an Americanist. I'm not a specialist in international security studies, but I deeply value the work that my colleagues at the Schar School, among our 80 full-time faculty members in many different areas of public policy, political science, public administration, international affairs, and the like, are doing to contribute to knowledge, not only in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but nationally and internationally. So thank you for coming today, and I believe it is my duty to turn this over to your moderator, my colleague, Professor So-Young Kwon. So-Young?
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, VIPs, and colleagues. ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We set up this symposium many months ago, wanting to focus on international security, not knowing that this will become such a hot topic, and especially just before the summit, presumably summit that's going to be held in a few weeks' time. Therefore, I think the interest on this topic is getting all the attention of Korea. But I wanted to broaden this perspective, not only focus on Korea Peninsula, but what about the issues and concerns in international security worldwide? So that's why we came up with the topic, Issues and Concerns in International Security, Asia and Beyond. So hopefully in the context of this historical summit between the leaders of North and South Korea and upcoming US-DPRK summit, the question of world safety and security has never been more relevant. High-level talks between US and North Korea to prepare for the upcoming summit, presumably to be held June 12th in Singapore. You can ask them whether it's going to come through or not. But this certainly touches upon many issues. Among them is probably the framework for North Korea's denuclearization, and whether broadened to include the nuclear programs, ballistic missiles, chemical and biological weapons, that really brings their expertise in here for us to think about these issues. So the symposium on the issues and concerns of international security is a very timely subject, not only to look into the Korea-related issue, but broaden our perspective to see within what framework we should situate the security problems in this Northeast Asian region. At the same time, we would like to know whether there's any possible ways to resolve it properly, by having this framework and apply what's happening in other parts of the region on these very issues. So that is how we actually organized this symposium of the day. So today, we have a panel of distinguished scholars and experts on the issues relating to international security, and they will examine this important subject as it relates to Asia and the world community. And we do have 4 professors from Schar School of Policy and Government, involving both directors and faculty in security programs and biodefense program. So this unprecedented gathering of these panelists, which is a unique opportunity for us, especially people from Incheon and Songdo, to have such a high level and expertise-based talk on this issue I think it's very impressive, and also it's very stimulating for us. So I would like to invite you to the stimulating discussions on the topic of nuclear and conventional weapons, as well as deterrence issues, to look into the opportunities and challenges for the U.S. national security strategy in the region, and also to find implications for the Korean Peninsula. So this will offer, hopefully, a very useful platform to seek solutions to secure peace and stability in the world. This symposium is structured to have each professor to give presentation for about 15 minutes maximum. I'm sorry, you flew all the way for 15 minutes, but due to the time constraint, I will give them to talk about their topic 15 minutes, and then I would like to give more time to the audience to engage in conversation with you, and I think that's even more important for the objective of this symposium. And I definitely would like to give ample time to the audience to ask questions and exchange views. So now, without further ado, I would like to give the floor to the presenter in order of Professor Lakeson, Professor Koblenz, Professor Ben Ogren-Gormley, and Professor Hunsaker in this order. And I would like to give their bios as they are coming here to get ready for the presentation, one by one. So you will get to hear about what they did in their career, also what they are interested in. So sort of not go through the biography at this point of time. So I would like to invite Professor Lakeson to talk about Iran nuclear deals and how that connects to us. And hopefully we'll touch upon some nuclear agreement issues as well.